The Billionaire CEO, a journey of the rich man who built his empire. In the heart of the city where glass towers scraped the sky, Nathaniel Hargrove stood on the brink of destiny. Known as the sleek, calculating billionaire whose name glittered across not only skyscrapers but also in the tabloids, Nathaniel had the rare combination of charm and ruthless ambition. He could turn dreams into profitable ventures and cast shadows over lives with a single stroke of a pen. But tonight, beneath the brilliant city lights, something strange hung in the air, an unseen tension crackling like static before a storm. Leo, a street boy with dirt-smudged cheeks and eyes that sparkled like polished coins, had a secret. A unique gift allowed him to glimpse the threads of fate, to see how minor decisions spiraled into larger consequences. He shuffled through the bustling crowd, a little ghost among phantoms, and felt the clock ticking. Something dark lurked, ready to unleash chaos on the very community Nathaniel was about to betray. As Nathaniel strode toward the legalization of a dubious real estate deal, Leo knew he had to act. His heart raced, fear knotting his stomach like a tight fist. He pushed through the throng, his voice a desperate whisper. "Mr. Hargrove, wait, you don't want to do this." The crowd parted, a chorus of gasps and curious looks forming around them. Nathaniel paused, his haughty smile fading to annoyance, as if being interrupted by a pesky fly. "What do you want? A handout? Get lost." The dismissal stung, but Leo pressed on. "This deal will destroy the neighborhood, the families, they'll lose everything." However, Nathaniel's cold eyes remained fixed on his empire, barely registering the anguish he was about to sow. Just then, the first tremor of calamity struck. A power outage plunged the surrounding blocks into darkness, in eerie foreshadowing that silenced the streets. People cried out, their faces painted with fear and uncertainty. Leo caught Nathaniel's eye, hoping to tilt the scales of fate. But Nathaniel merely scoffed, adjusting his tailored jacket, brushing off the chaos as if it were nothing more than a minor inconvenience. Unbeknownst to him, a series of disasters awaited: collapsing street vendors, a raging storm, shadows of troubled secrets from his past. With tension building, Leo felt a chill sweep through him. The more Nathaniel ignored the warning signs, the more Leo seemed to slip back into darkness. Past struggles echoed between them, unearthing buried connections that neither could grasp. And then, just as Nathaniel believed he had everything under control, a woman from his past burst onto the scene, eyes blazing with the fire of revelation. She held a family secret, and it was powerful enough to topple empires. As fate twisted and turned, each moment became a nail-biting point of tension. Nathaniel and Leo were tangled in a web of choices that could either save or ruin everything they both held dear. Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up. And since you're here, smash that like button because it really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Nathaniel's breath hitched as the woman surged forward, her presence slicing through the chaos like a knife. It was Lily, the one person he thought had vanished from his life. The way her fiery gaze drilled into him sent a chill racing down his spine. She stood there, a whirlwind of emotion, clutching something tightly to her chest. The air grew thick with tension. Whispers rippled through the crowd. What was going on? "Lily?" he croaked, mind spinning. "What are you doing here?" "I came to warn you," she shot back, voice shaking with urgency. "This deal, it's a trap. It's not just bad, it's the end." Leo felt the ground beneath him tremble at her words. A trap? What kind of trap? His heart raced as the shadows of the past crept up, wrapping around him. He took a step closer, drawn in. But then, without warning, a loud bang echoed through the streets. A nearby dumpster exploded, sending fragments flying and the crowd into a panicked frenzy. They screamed, people scattered, pushing and shoving. Nathaniel instinctively grabbed Lily's arm, pulling her closer. "Stay with me," he yelled, but she broke free, eyes wild. "No, you need to listen." Then, she yanked something out from under her jacket, a faded photograph. She brandished it like a weapon. "This is your family. This photo, it proves everything. Your father, your lineage, it's all a lie." The world around Nathaniel blurred. "What are you talking about?" His voice trembled, barely a whisper against the mayhem. Lily's expression flickered with a mix of regret and fire. "Your father didn't build this empire. He stole it from people like us." Leo's gut twisted. Everything he'd felt about Nathaniel shifted. The business mogul wasn't just a ruthless billionaire. He was tied to something darker, something personal. The crowd started to turn, shock morphing into anger, hands pointed accusingly at Nathaniel, a buzz of disbelief rolling over them like thunder. "He's a fraud," someone shouted, and others echoed, furious faces surrounding the billionaire, pushing him into a corner. Tensions rising, Leo thought with fear clenching his heart. He watched Nathaniel's facade crack, anger blazing in his eyes. "How dare you?" he spat at Lily. But she stood firm, unwavering. The chaos intensified. The power outage flickered back on, lights glowing like false promises. But the shadows didn't lift. They thickened. People were hunched over their phones, desperate to record this moment. This was the very downfall Nathaniel had tried to orchestrate, now playing out in real time. Then from somewhere in the distance, sirens wailed, piercing through the murmur of the crowd. A wave of dread washed over Nathaniel as police cars pulled up. They were too late, caught in the eye of the storm he'd created. Just as he prepared to lash out at Lily, her next words struck him like a lightning bolt. "Did you really think you could bury your past? This is just the beginning, Nathaniel." Truth hung heavy in the air, and it sent him reeling. He turned to Leo, desperation etched in every feature. "Help me." But he was just a street boy, caught in waves far beyond his reach. Everything had shifted. The city he thought he controlled was unraveling, and the truth threatened to pull him under. Leo felt an unsettling thrill, caught between chaos and clarity. What truth could possibly lie in that photo? And why had Lily returned now? As Nathaniel faced the crowd, the sirens getting closer, the real question struck both Leo and Nathaniel. Were they allies or adversaries? The future hung by a thread, and neither knew how tightly the past would entwine them. The sirens wailed like a storm warning, echoing in Nathaniel's ears as he faced Lily, the crowd pressing in, a living wave of anger and betrayal. "Help me," he implored, but doubt gnawed at him. He wasn't even sure what he needed help with anymore. Amid the chaos, Leo felt his heart hammering in his chest. The truth was like a heavy weight suspended in the air, a silent war brewing at Nathaniel's feet. He couldn't shake the feeling that everything was about to shatter. Then a crash. A nearby street lamp toppled, sending sparks flying, and the crowd gasped, retreating. Sunglasses and phones dropped in the frenzy. Nathaniel jerked, instinctively shielding Lily, but his face twisted in offense. "This is absurd," he shouted, his voice raw, slicing through the noise. "You don't know what you're talking about." But then, in the hushed silence that followed, they all heard it. A peal of thunder so close that the air felt electric. The crowd shifted uncomfortably, eyes darting around, searching for escape. Leo's instincts screamed. Something was off. Then, like a bolt from the blue, the ground trembled beneath them, a sharp jolt, followed by a deep rumble, like a monster awakening. Nathaniel stumbled, and Leo could only watch in horror as the asphalt cracked open. "Earthquake!" Someone screamed, and the crowd erupted into panic. People stumbled, some fell, hitting the hard ground. Leo darted forward, grabbing Nathaniel's sleeve. "We need to move," he urged. But Nathaniel was frozen, shock plaster on his face, eyes wide, still locked on Lily. This can't be happening," he stammered, the chaos exploding around him. Lily, however, was undeterred. "You have to listen," she shouted over the din. pulling at his arm. "It's not just about the deal anymore. It's about who you really are." And just as she spoke those words, another tremor exploded beneath them, this one sharper, more violent, an unseen hand tearing the pavement apart. Leo felt the ground shift under his feet like a living thing. A fissure opened wide, swallowing whole sections of sidewalk, causing a cascade of screams. But in that moment of terror, something caught Leo's eye. From the depth of the newly formed crevasse, a glint of metal shone, a necklace, swinging gently, caught on a tangle of roots buried for years. Curiosity pulled him closer. He knelt at the edge, heart racing, and as he did, the voice of a small child echoed from the darkness below. "Help! Help me!" His breath caught. "What? Who's down there?" He felt a surge of horror. Was someone trapped? But before he could shout for help, Nathaniel suddenly lunged forward. "No, wait, don't." Too late. Leo felt a surge of adrenaline, and against all judgment, he reached into the crevasse. His fingers brushed the necklace, but it was no ordinary piece of jewelry. It was grotesque, engraved with the initials NH. Horrified, he yanked it free. As he pulled it out, Nathaniel's face went pale.
"Where did you find that?"
He gasped, eyes wide, filled with an emotion Leo couldn't quite decipher, fear or recognition. The crowd hushed, breath bated, watching the scene unfold. Leo's heartbeat thundered in his ears, the fear and urgency colliding around them. "What is this?" Lily's gaze flicked between them, urgency radiating off her. "Nathaniel, you can't keep running. This is connected." But everything was spinning too fast. The ground trembled again, and Nathaniel's eyes darted wildly. "It's not possible," he said, shaking his head as reality crumbled around them. I don't understand." The atmosphere turned thick with dread. Leo could feel it, a connection pulsing through the air, something monumental lying just beneath the surface. Nathaniel took a step back, his confidence shattering.
"What did you find?"
he whispered, gripping Lily's arm as if she could ground him. But Leo could feel the truth creeping into view. Something monumental and terrifying that would reshape everything they knew. "Who are you?" Nathaniel demanded, fury masked with desperation. And just like that, the crowd held its breath. What had Leo just unearthed? How deep did this rabbit hole go? And what other secrets lurked in the shadows, waiting for their chance to spill into the light? The ground quaked again, but now it felt like the earth itself was responding to their questions, unearthing a history far more complex than any of them could have anticipated. Nathaniel's breath fogged in the chaotic air, thoughts racing as
Leo held the necklace like a fragile relic, its very existence shaking the ground beneath them. The crowd swirled, faces fixed in shock, as Nathaniel's voice trembled. "What did you find?" The photograph still hung heavy between them, a bridge to secrets long buried. The light flickered back to life, illuminating the grim truth written on Lily's face. She stepped closer, defiance shimmering in her eyes. "You can't pretend anymore, Nathaniel. You need to face what your father did." As thunder rolled above, a heavy pain began to claw at Nathaniel's chest. But just as he opened his mouth to respond, a deafening crash split the air. A piece of the street caved in nearby. Chaos erupted again. People screamed and ran, but Nathaniel was glued in place, drawn to the truth hanging in the balance. Desperation pulsed from Leo, who felt the energy shift among the crowd. Panic morphed into realization. "We can't stay here," he yelled, but Nathaniel's gaze remained fixed, searching the depths of Lily's eyes. "Stop," Nathaniel shouted, his voice rising above the din. "I need to know what you're hiding." He moved forward, brushed past the fracturing pavement, reaching for the necklace. But Leo pulled back, his heart pounding. "No, you don't know what you might unleash." A flash of anger ignited within Nathaniel. "You think I'm scared of the truth?" He shot back, but the moment felt stretched, fraught with tension. In a tremor of madness, the earth shook once more, this time more violently. The fissure beneath them widened, a chasm that seemed to swallow the chaos whole. From the crevasse, something shifted, a shadow, rippling into view. Then came the scream. It wasn't from the crowd. "Help, please!" A child's voice, so small, yet filled with terror.
Leo gasped, eyes wide.
What?
Before they could process, hands reached for the edge, and suddenly, out of the darkness, a girl appeared. Her hair was tangled, and her eyes wide with fright.
Help me, she cried, voice trembling. Where did you come from?
Leo stepped back, fear jolting through him. How long have you been trapped? Lily pressed forward, gripping Nathaniel's arm. This can't be happening. This changes everything.
But Nathaniel was transfixed, staring at the girl like she was a ghost from his past.
Keep away, he yelled, panic flickering in his eyes. Yet it was too late. The ground shuddered violently again, this time opening wide enough that the world seemed to tilt. With a final desperate push, the girl clawed her way out, collapsing at their feet. As quickly as the initial shock hit, another wave crashed into Nathaniel.
Recognition. Mia, he whispered, heart racing.
Is that you?
With that name,
the crowd froze in collective confusion, whispers weaving through the onlookers like a thread of lightning. Lily's shock morphed into something darker. Nathaniel, no, it can't be her. But as Mia looked up, recognition ignited in her eyes.
Dad, she croaked, and all hell broke loose.
Nathaniel was reeling from the weight of this revelation. He staggered, shaking his head like it would clear the fog.
No, this can't be real.
Lily stepped back as if struck, her past unraveling before her. What do you mean? She shouted, disbelief heavy in her voice. You left her, you left us. The crowd shifted, eyes narrowing, fingers pointing. The narrative rewrote itself in an instant, turning Nathaniel from a ruthless baron to perhaps a broken father. But the storm inside was not finished. The earth quaked violently once more, causing the pavement beneath Leo to break apart at his feet. As he was nearly thrown off balance, he seized hold of the nearest thing, the necklace, now pulsing with energy in his grasp, the initials glimmering ominously under the streetlights. What the hell is going on? Leo yelled, voice cracking under the strain of revelations cascading around him. The air grew thick with uncertainty. Relationships shifted like sand under a tidal wave. Were Nathaniel and Mia allies or enemies? And what darkness lay hidden within the truth? Everything felt like a dam about to burst. Nathaniel's world was crumbling, but behind him, shadows from the past were creeping forward, ready to drown them all in its wake. What lurked beneath those secrets, and why had Mia been hidden away? For a moment, silence enveloped them, thick and suffocating. Then came the wail of
sirens again, a reminder that time was slipping through their fingers. And just as it felt like the ground could swallow them whole, Mia whispered, "You need to listen.
They've been watching." Her words hung in the air like a match thrown into dry grass,
a flash that threatened to ignite an all-consuming fire.
What had they tangled themselves in? What horrors were lurking around the bend? The questions spun around them unanswered, as the consequences of the past and a looming storm promised to tear apart everything they thought they knew. Mia's cry hung in the air, a fragile lifeline wrapped in fear and desperation. The crowd shifted, eyes wide with disbelief as Nathaniel staggered back, disbelief etched across his handsome face.
"Mia," he whispered again, his body stiffening as if struck by lightning.
But before he could process the moment, the apartment building across the street erupted into chaos. A loud bang shattered the tension, and an enormous cloud of dust billowed toward them. People screamed, hearts racing, the figure of Mia lost in the engulfing panic. Leo crouched, instincts kicking in. "We need to get her out of here." His mind raced as the ground quaked again, each tremor amplifying the urgency of the moment. But Lily wouldn't let go of Nathaniel's arm. "You have to face it, Nathaniel. What you did, what your father did." Her eyes darted between him and Mia, anger clashing with concern. "Focus, now."
Nathaniel snapped, a wildness creeping into his tone as if to shield himself from their reality.
"Get her to safety." Leo's knees nearly buckled under the weight of uncertainty. What did Mia have to do with all of this? Who was she really? Just then, a dark figure emerged from the dust,
tall and imposing. The silhouette against the chaos shifted. "Nathaniel!" The voice cut through the panic, firm and commanding. Everyone turned. A man dressed in a dark suit stepped forward from the haze. His eyes glinted dangerously, framed by sharp features. "What is going on?" he yelled, his tone icy. "This isn't how it was supposed to happen." Leo's gut twisted. Who was this guy? And what did he mean? Suddenly, Nathaniel's bravado faltered. The cracks in his armor were unmistakable. "What are you doing here?" he stammered, cold dread sinking into his chest. "You need to come with me," the man ordered, his gaze moving from Nathaniel to the crowd, calculating. Now. Mia trembled, confusion swimming in her eyes. "Dad, who is this?" But Nathaniel shook his head, declaring, "I have no idea. Just stay away." Strikingly, the man's stance shifted, growing more aggressive. "Every second you're here puts everyone at risk. You don't know what's coming." Before anyone could react, the ground erupted beneath them, a violent tearing sound, like paper ripping. Leo stumbled back, instinctively reaching for Mia. People shouted, scrambling to get away as fissures opened wider. "He's lying," Nathaniel shouted, pointing a finger at the stranger, fury boiling over. "Everything I've built. Build on lies," the man cut in sharply. "Do you know what it took to hide your past?" And then it happened. Just as Leo glanced toward the chaos, the man lunged at Nathaniel. A single swift motion, a knife emerging from his jacket, gleaming under the flickering lights. It plunged into Nathaniel's side with a sickening thud. The air thickened, time slowed as gasps of shock broke from the crowd. Leo's heart plummeted. "No," he screamed, watching helplessly as Nathaniel staggered, eyes wide, face paling. Lily shrieked, rushing forward. "Nathaniel!" But before anyone could react, the man pulled the knife back, stepping away. "This isn't just about you," he hissed, voice low with an intensity that sent chills radiating through the onlookers. "This is about what you owe." As Nathaniel clutched his side, blood seeping through his fingers, the true weight of their tangled histories bore down. Mia dropped to her knees, tears streaming down her dirt-smudged cheeks. "Dad!" And suddenly, without warning, Leo felt a jolt, as if the air had shifted. The sirens wailed louder, the world around them a chaotic storm of fear. What had just happened? In that chilling moment, an unsettling realization washed over them all. The lives they thought they understood, the truths they thought they knew, were crumbling beneath them like the ground they stood on. "What do you mean?" "I owe?" Nathaniel gasped, confusion lacing his voice, wheezing under the pain. The man turned, smugness etched on his features. "You'll find out soon enough, Nathaniel. Just remember, this was always about family." And just like that, the air grew thick with shadows of betrayal that threatened to engulf them all. Leo felt his heart race, uncertainty flooding through him. Relationships unraveled right before his eyes. What had he stumbled into? And what lay ahead for each of them? The ground cracked again, and this time it felt like the world was shifting under them, ready to unleash chaos that had only just begun. Mia's cry echoed in the chaos, her wide eyes searching Nathaniel's face for the father she couldn't fully remember. As he staggered back, shock and confusion painted across his features, Lily stepped forward, her concern transformed into something fiercer. "You left her. You left both of us." Before Nathaniel could respond, the dust from the collapsing building swirled, thickening the air with panic and fear. A siren blared closer, cutting through the panic that engulfed them. Leo felt the tremors of the ground beneath him as if it too was alive, shifting its allegiances. The world spun out of control, and now it felt as if time itself was scrambling. "Get back!" Nathaniel shouted, clutching his side where the blood soaked through his fingers, a dark ribbon trailing down his tailored shirt. But Mia wasn't just a child lost. In the moment, she was part of something far deeper, and even from her knees, she was commanding attention, a ghost anchored to the past. "Dad, please, who is this man?" she cried, reaching out, confusion mixing with terror. Then it happened. A noise like thunder erupted from the ground as another massive tremor shook the asphalt. Eyes widened, hearts dropped, and in a flash, the earth heaved violently,
opening the fissure even wider. Something glimmered in the depths of that darkness. What is that? Leo wondered out loud, and almost instantly, the air thickened with silence, all eyes instinctively drawn to the chasm. It pulsated beneath them, as if alive, and then, without warning, a shadow uncoiled from the darkness, rising slowly, almost casually. The crowd gasped collectively as the figure emerged, dust swirling around it. There, standing at the edge of the crevasse, was a woman. Long hair, ethereal, flowing, as if caught in a breeze. Ghostly pale skin that glimmered even in the dim light. "You thought you could hide from me?" she said, her voice a haunting melody. Murmurs erupted from the crowd. Who was she? What did it mean? Nathaniel stumbled back, blood draining from his face. How are you here?" he croaked, eyes wide with shock and fear. The woman smiled, a chilling smile that seemed to consume the light. "You've been playing games with fate, Nathaniel. Your past doesn't just belong to you, it belonged to me first." Lily's hand slipped from Nathaniel's arm, horror etched across her features. "What do you mean?" Mia's face twisted in confusion. "What's happening?" With each moment, the tension thickened like fog. Leo felt trapped in the surge of emotions swirling around them. Yet the woman continued, her eyes darkening with anger. "You thought you could erase your bloodline? You thought you could bury me, but blood is thicker than water." Suddenly, a blinding flash of light erupted from the chasm, almost like a warning. Then, without warning, the sky darkened, a swirling mass of clouds enveloping the city, like a predator ready to strike. Sirens wailed, louder than before, but it all faded against the rising chaos. "No! Stay back!" Nathaniel yelled again, stepping involuntarily toward the woman, his face a mask of terror. But the crowd surged, a wave of uncertainty, pushing them away from the danger. "Get to safety!" people shouted. But who knew where that was? Mia grasped at Nathaniel's sleeve, her voice shaking. "Dad, don't!" But then, the woman stepped forward. "You can't run anymore. You owe me. You owe all of us." And with that, the skies erupted. Lightning struck, illuminating her figure. So of revelations, horrors from a shared past, and truths that demanded to be unveiled. And as the storm converged, the necklace in Leo's hand felt alive, pulsing with energy, whispering answers in a language he didn't yet understand. He couldn't shake the feeling this was only the beginning. Everything was unraveling, and he was right in the eye of the storm. The questions spiraled in his mind, desperation clawing at him. What had he stumbled upon? Who really was this woman, and why did she have such claim over Nathaniel's life? It was too much, too quick, and just like that, the world seemed to tilt further into chaos, leaving everything in question. What have they unleashed? What truths would emerge from the shadows? And how could they survive the storm that was only just beginning? The air pulsed with tension as the woman stepped closer, her presence electrifying and overwhelming. Nathaniel recoiled, fingers clawing at the growing stain on his shirt, a stark contrast against his tailored jacket. The crowd held its breath, caught in a whirlwind of chaos and confusion. Lightning cracked above, illuminating their faces, the gallery of shock, fear, and anticipation. "Who are you?" Nathaniel finally managed, voice trembling. "What do you want from me?" The woman smiled softly, but it sent a chill racing down Leo's spine. "You know exactly what I want. You can't escape your past. It's time to face what you've denied." Mia knelt on the pavement, confusion mingling with desperation. "But I don't understand. What did he do?" Your father is a fraud." The words crashed against them like a tidal wave, rippling through the crowd. More gasps followed. "He built a facade, using blood and betrayal as his bricks." The ground quaked again, a terrifying reminder that their world was shifting. Panic surged as some tried to flee, but others were rooted in place, eyes darting between Nathaniel and the woman with dread. Leaning closer, the woman continued, "You thought you could erase me, didn't you? just like you erased your own daughter's existence. You can't dig where the roots are deep. They will always come back to haunt you. Pain echoed in Nathaniel's eyes, the reality of her words, cutting deeper than the knife wound. I never meant to, but you did. Every choice led to this moment. She pointed, angling at the crowd. They will pay for your sins. Leo's gut churned as he realized this wasn't just about Nathaniel's empire. It was about the lives that crumbled beneath his greed. All around, whispers and accusations rose in veils of fury and despair. He's a liar, someone shouted. He's a monster. Then in a shocking twist, Leo heard a voice from behind him. Stop. Just stop. It was a loud, steady voice cutting through the chaos. Everyone turned, breath suspended. A figure emerged from the shadows. Another woman, with sharp features and eyes blazing.
With purpose, she pushed her way through the throng, determination etched into every line of her face, and Leo felt a jolt of recognition.
Mom? Mia's voice trembled, tears glistening.
What are you doing here? Nathaniel gasped, disbelief flashing in his blazing eyes.
But the new woman, Mia's mother, had no time for questions. She marched up to the ethereal figure and shouted, You think you can manipulate them? You've caused enough pain. Stunned silence followed. This wasn't just a family reunion. This was a battleground. Leo's heart raced as everything he thought he understood blurred into confusion. Who were these women? I knew I would find you here, the first woman hissed, her tone dripping with disdain. You always
were too weak to face the truth. Weak? I did what I had to. You don't know what it's like to fight for everything, Mia's mother countered fiercely. The two women faced off, tension palpable, as Nathaniel clutched his side, watching helplessly as the storm brewed overhead. What are you hiding? Leo whispered to himself, the necklace still clutched tightly in his palm, pulsing with energy as if echoing the brewing conflict. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning struck the ground nearby, the loud crack, splitting the night like fate itself had decided. With that jolt, the chasm beneath them widened even further, focusing everyone's attention back to the darkness. Mia's eyes widened. My sister, she cried out, voice breaking. I have a sister? Just when it seemed the ground would swallow them whole, the other woman spoke, chillingly calm. You think you can run from each other. Your family is intertwined in a tangled web of secrets. What you don't know could cost you everything. What did she mean? And then Leo felt it, the truth dissolving all he thought he understood. Mia, you're not the only one with a sibling. The words hung heavy in the air like a weight waiting to drop. Every face turned sharply to Nathaniel, awaiting a revelation that shifted everything. The storm swelled, dark clouds roiling above, and all Leo could think was, what awaited them in the depths of that chasm? Mia's voice hung in the air like a prayer, gripping everyone's attention. The crowd shifted, breaths held tight. Nathaniel's gaze darted back and forth, from Mia to the mysterious woman, as if the wind itself was trying to blow away the weight of the truth. I can't have a sister, he mumbled, heart racing like a wild drum. Confusion twisted his face, but even as he spoke, Leo felt a pull in his gut, a dreadful sense of inevitability swirling in the storm above. Maybe you. Then a chilling laugh echoed from the shadows. The ground shook, as if the earth itself was laughing back at them. A figure emerged, a man, tall and cloaked in darkness. I told you all it would come crashing down, he sneered, arms open wide, his grin slicing through the tension like a knife. Who are you? Nathaniel barked, new anger flashing in his eyes, blood pooling on his shirt in stark contrast. The man swaggered forward, every step deliberate. Oh, you don't recognize me? I'm the architect of your downfall. He gestured around him. Let me introduce myself, Caleb, at your service, brother to the lost shadows you call family. Gasps erupted. The crowd erupted in disbelief. What? Someone shouted. You can't be serious. The shock took hold of Nathaniel. Another lie. This has to be a trick.
Is it? Is it really?
Caleb leaned in closer, eyes glimmering with malice. You've been living in a bubble, dear brother, and I'm here to pop it. Mia's face crumpled, confusion etched deep in her brow. Brother? But how? Do you think I would let dear Nathaniel keep the throne without me? We've been playing this game for so long, dear sister. He pointed towards Mia. Our father's legacy depends on our unity, not division. Your family? Lily screamed, rage exploding in her voice. Your family is wrecked. It was never supposed to be this way. But before anyone could react, the ground roared again, and a fissure opened wider. Leo felt the air thrum with energy, the necklace in his hand glowing brighter, pulsing like a heartbeat. What was this power? Enough, Nathaniel bellowed, taking a step forward, anger blazing through his pain. There's nothing you can say or do that can change what I've built. Get out of my way. Suddenly, Caleb thrust a hand towards Nathaniel, and the world shifted in an instant. The pulsating energy from the necklace surged, radiating across the ground, as if awakening something long buried. A blinding light erupted from the chasm, engulfing them all. No, Nathaniel shouted, his voice piercing through the chaos. But it was too late. Boom, a shockwave knocked everyone off. Their feet, the blinding light, swallowed them whole, and in that moment, nothing made sense. Everything spun. When the light faded and they blinked to adjust, nothing was the same. The atmosphere thickened with an unbearable weight. They were no longer on the street. The familiar cityscape vanished, replaced by a stunning, silent forest draped in eerie twilight. Where are we? Mia croaked, glancing around, confusion wrinkling her brow. Caleb laughed again, his voice a haunting echo. You thought you could outrun your shadows? Welcome to my world. And just like that, Leo sensed it, a truth that sliced through the air sharper than glass. You did this, he murmured, realization dawning. This was your play all along. But then a whisper skated through the darkness, barely audible yet full of foreboding. You thought the past couldn't reach you. Think again. Their hearts raced as the shadows stretched, filling the air with supernatural tension. Everything they knew, the lies and betrayals, twisted back on them. As the darkness loomed, Leo gripped the necklace tighter, feeling its power. Could it bring them back? Or had they crossed a line no one could return from? Mia's voice trembled. What happens now? And just like that, the world held its breath, teetering on the edge of discovery, waiting for the storm to break. What had they awakened? What were the true stakes in this twisted game? Mia's voice echoed in the thick twilight, her confusion wrapping around them like a heavy fog. Nathaniel felt the world tilt as shadows grew longer, stretching into corners of his past he thought he could outrun. We can't be here. This isn't real. He fought against the surge of dread pressing in on him. Caleb's mocking smile fueled a fire in him, igniting the fear that had lingered since he'd stepped into this nightmare. The woman glared at him, lips curling in disdain. This is as real as it gets, Nathaniel. Your family history, it's woven tightly with mine. You never learned your fate. He swallowed hard, the weight of her words pressing on his chest like a vice. Mia looked between them, eyes pleading for answers that felt just out of reach. What are you talking about? Caleb stepped closer, dark eyes glinting like stones. What she means is that our legacy is intertwined. You're not just a distant cousin. You're part of something bigger, something darker. Nathaniel shook his head, denial creeping in, but the storm above them rumbled, emphasizing the truth he resisted. No, you're wrong. I'm not tied to you. I've built my lies, the woman hissed, interrupting him. Every brick of your empire is tainted, and it's time you face the consequences. Just then, the ground erupted with a deafening roar. A fissure split wide open, the very earth seeming to scream. Nathaniel stumbled, and Leo instinctively grabbed Mia, pulling her back. Move, he yelled, but the chaos consumed them. Bodies surged around, panic rising like bile in their throats. The shadows deepened, swirling like smoke, wrapping them in a cocoon of uncertainty. "This isn't just a fight for your empire," Mia's mother shouted, striding forward. "It's a fight for your very soul," Caleb sneered, "and it's one you're destined to lose." The darkness shimmered, and from the depths, a low growl reverberated through the ground. Leo's heart raced. Something was coming. In that moment of tension, the glimmering necklace around his neck pulsed violently, warming against his skin. It felt alive, thrumming with ancient energy. Out of the chasm surged a massive figure, cloaked in shadow, a being neither man nor woman. It emerged with a grace that belied its size, eyes glowing like molten gold. The crowd gasped, shrinking back in fright. "What is that?" someone shouted, panic spilling over. Caleb stepped aside, a wicked grin forming. "It's the consequence of your choices, Nathaniel. Meet Orin, the guardian of truth." Orin's voice broke through like thunder. "You have summoned me to bring clarity, and clarity demands reckoning." Mia stumbled back, confusion giving way to fear. "What does that mean?" "Your father lied," Orin declared, voice rumbling. "But not just any lie. He stole from the lost ones, to amplify his power, and now it's time to decide." The group fell into stunned silence, hearts racing. Each face was a portrait of horror. "Decide." "What?" Leo asked, voice trembling. "Who you truly are. Who you will become." Orin's gaze pierced Nathaniel, sending chills surging through him. "Your choices will unleash the truth that binds you, and each twist could lead to salvation or destruction." Nathaniel's heart thundered as he faced the reality of what this meant. He thought he had built his empire, but it was built on someone else's blood, someone else's loss. "What do you mean, who I will become?" he whispered, disbelief mingling with dread. Then came the twist. "Only one among you is not who they seem." Orin turned slowly, looking at each person in the circle. One is an echo of another's past, wearing a mask of truth. Shockwaves rippled through the group, eyes darting between one another. "No," Mia gasped, fingers trembling. "Not me. I'm not hiding anything." The crowd shifted again, uncertainty spilling into accusations. Nathaniel felt their gazes fix on him. "What does that even mean?" he demanded, but the uncertainty had already taken root. Orin's voice filled the void, heavy with portent. "The mask will fall, and the hidden will be revealed. Only then can you choose wisely." And just like that, the atmosphere thickened, hope crushed beneath the harsh, unforgiving truth. The storm grew louder around them as Leo looked into the eyes of those he thought he knew. Reality blurred, and the impending chaos felt like a dark promise, for in this moment, a chilling realization struck like a bolt of lightning. One of them would shatter the very foundation of their lives. Who would it be? And what devastation awaited them when the mask finally fell? The world held its breath as shadows closed in, waiting for the storm to break. Orin's gaze swept over the gathering. The air thickened with tension, every heartbeat a drum of uncertainty, as each person stood on the precipice of revelation. "One among you wears a mask," he declared, his voice resonating like thunder, a truth hidden beneath layers of lies. A wave of fear rippled through the crowd. Nathaniel's heart raced. Was it him? Would he shatter like glass under the weight of his own secrets? The storm above roiled ominously, casting shadowy figures that flickered like ghosts against the darkening sky. Caleb stepped back, a twisted smile creeping across his face. "Let's see who falls first," he taunted, his eyes glinting with malice. "Who is the traitor in this family saga?" "Stop it," Mia cried, her voice laced with desperation. "We are not enemies." She looked to Nathaniel, pleading for understanding. "Please, Dad, just tell me the truth." "Enough!" Nathaniel shouted, his voice cracking under the tension, pooling tears of regret mixing with bile in his throat. "I will not let this family tear itself apart. If anyone is to blame, it's me." The ground quaked beneath them, as if responding to his words. A violent shudder that sent shockwaves through the group. Orin's eyes burned brighter, like twin suns, igniting the darkness.
Then lend me your truth, Nathaniel. Let it rise from the ashes of your choices.
Before he could respond, the necklace in Leo's hand pulsed violently, almost as if it were alive. Its energy surged, and he instinctively raised it, channeling the raw power thrumming within. This necklace, it's connected to all of you. It holds the key, the crowd murmured, eyes wide with disbelief. Mia peered closer. What do you mean? I don't fully understand, Leo admitted, heart hammering in his chest. But maybe this can help us uncover the truth. With trembling hands, Leo stepped forward, offering the necklace. Toward Oren. You said truth demands reckoning. Let us face it together. With a gesture, Oren took the necklace. As he clasped it, a wave of light erupted from the gem, illuminating them all in a blinding brilliance. Secrets began to spill like spilled ink, flowing through the air, wrapping around each person. Shadows flickered, revealing hidden memories, regrets, and the untold histories that bound and shackled their souls. Nathaniel gasped as scenes from his past unfurled before him. The choices he made, the people he betrayed, the legacy he built on the backs of the weak. Faces and names flooded his mind like ghosts refusing to fade. Caleb's expression shifted, unease creeping into his bravado. No, it wasn't supposed to be like this. Mia reached for her father. You can change it, Dad. We can change it. As the last remnants of the shadows melted away, Nathaniel's heart filled with a fierce, burning clarity. I won't run anymore. I'll make amends, not just for me, but for all those I hurt. With the necklace still glowing, Oren stepped back, a smile breaking across his troubled visage. Then perhaps the darkness can be repurposed to forge new light. Forgiveness is not weak. It's your final chance. The storm overhead retreated, clouds parting as dawn's light broke through. It was a new beginning. As family and shadows began to reconcile, Leo felt hope blossom within, surrounded by a fragile yet undeniable peace. Nathaniel placed the hand on Mia's shoulder, gripping it tightly. I'm sorry, he said, voice raw with emotion. I promise to be better, to be worthy of the legacy we will build together. They all stood together, united in their shared truths. And though pain lingered in the air, hope had cracked through like sunbeams piercing a darkened sky. Let's go home, Mia whispered, eyes shimmering with determination. As they turned to leave, Leo felt warmth from the necklace dissipate, a reminder of the bond they forged in chaos. It was more than a trinket. It was the key to their past and their future, linking them forever. As pieces began to settle, Oren's voice carried one last echo through the air. Change is coming, and it begins with you. With that, they stepped forward into a new dawn, a shared journey awaiting them, brimming with possibility. Now, before you leave, listen up. You have to subscribe right now. Don't miss a single exclusive story coming your way. It's all unfolding. Smash that like button right now. It fuels the algorithm and keeps this community alive. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories on this wild ending. Your opinions matter. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how this all wraps up. Support the channel in this moment. Your participation shapes our journey ahead. Let's make every moment count.